Okay, so what we have up to now, we have a spaceship that can move back and forth, that stays within our boundaries. We're at the point where we need to be able to have asteroids that we can start checking collision and having us be able to fix those. All right, so we already loaded some asteroid images. We have a spaceship. Now let's start thinking about asteroids. Okay, now I actually want us to do this a little bit different. I am going to be starting to walk through us doing arrays. We've done arrays before in a lot of different setups. Instead of us actively trying to create like 5 different asteroids, it'd be cool if we could have them basically load themselves. Okay, so I want to think in terms of ultimately I'm going to have multiple asteroids. Okay, but we're going to have just one that we're going to use in our setup to pre-create. Okay, so we have this asteroid 1 image we're going to load. Okay, so it'll be kind of like our spaceship. We're going to have a position, we're going to have a velocity, we're going to have a size. We could have a health, we are going to have a speed, we'll have an update, we'll have a display. We could have some different values like destroyed and not destroyed, that type of stuff. So let's start kind of developing that real quick. Okay, I know that I'm going to do a list, but we do need to create at least a default asteroid. Okay, so we're going to say this asteroid is, and there's a number of things that we probably want to have in here. I'm going to have a position. Create vector. And we could give it, say, 0, 0 when we do our initial creation, but we could have it where it's actually building a specific one. Let's do velocity. Velocity has a create vector. We'll give it a certain speed. We have size. So let's say that we wanted a size that's between -50, about -100, -50, 50, and actually that doesn't make any sense, does it? We'll just have 2 sizes for right now. We do want some type of rotation direction. We want our asteroids to look like they're moving around. So let's have where it's, we'll call it rotation direction. And we could give it a value. So again, we'll do this with random. We'll do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. That means that it's going to go from these different directions. Okay, so let's we need to create a function for us to give it its initial position. So this init one, what it's going to do is it's going to put in for that position. So we'll do an X and a Y. Okay, that will this dot position dot x is x. This dot position dot y is the y. We want to be able to update. Okay, which will be this dot position dot add this dot velocity. That's going to add it. Now, after we're adding it, we need to check where our position is. If we are off of the screen, we want to be able to reset. which means that if we're going to reset, we probably want to also reset some certain values. So let's just call a reset. We're going to say we want an X, a Y, and a direction. Okay. So in here, this dot position dot X is, actually I could probably call this init again, because that's doing the same thing. So this dot init at X and Y, and then let's change that direction. This dot rotation direction is, and we basically want to do this again. We're just going to set another one. Okay. We want to check if those asteroids are off the screen, then we basically want to reset. Now, we will end up seeing this in the DVD one, the DVD logo. But basically, if an asteroid is, say, coming down like this, if it goes off of the screen on either way, the left, right, or the bottom, then we should be able to reset it. Okay. So let's do an edge check as a function for our asteroids. And that will return true or false. Well, edge out of bounds. That's going to return true or false. So if, now we need to check the different edges of our asteroid. So let's check the left side. If this dot position dot X plus, so we need the right side, this dot size divided by 2. If that's the right side, if that is less than 0, okay? If that's true, or let's check our right side, this dot position dot X minus this dot size divided by 2 is greater than the width of the canvas, or we need the bottom. This dot position dot Y, or excuse me, so the top of the ship, if that's below this bottom line, dot position dot Y plus minus this dot size divided by 2. That would give me the top. If that is greater than the height, if either one of those are true, we want to return true. It means we are out of bounds. Otherwise, we're going to return, else return false. Okay. So if we do have a collision where we are out of bounds, so that would be here, we moved this dot out of bounds. If that's true, what do we want to do? We want to call this reset. So this dot reset, and we'll just reset everything. So let's just do random from this dot size, and we'll keep this so it gets created inside though. So this dot size divided by 2, that would be that left side, to the width minus this dot size divided by 2. Okay, that's the X. the y, we want that to be some type of 0 minus some random amount. So if we keep it relatively small, it's going to show up frequently. So let's just say that we're going from this dot size to this dot size times 3. Okay, that would give the x, the y, and then we want the direction. And actually, we're not really even taking into account that direction. We're just having it automatically change the direction. Okay. Rotation, direction. Oh. Okay, we just got to rethink this a little bit. If we're out, we're going to reset the x and the y. I think we also need we got our velocity. So let's set that back to some random values. So our rotation direction is going to happen automatically. So is our x and our y's are going to change. So we want our velocity and our x, that's where we're moving. Let's do -2 comma -1 comma we'll do 0, 1, and 2. I'm not doing from one number to the other. Actually, we could. Maybe that'll be fine. Let's see. We want it to go from -2 to 2. That'd be my random x velocity. So that's moving left to right. Now I want this to always move somewhat down, but it might move at a different speed. So my y velocity, wait, what is going on? Oh, that should be inside there. This would be random, but it needs to be a positive value. So I might do 1, 2, let's say 3. Okay. That would be my reset. So I'm setting some random one. I could technically just call this reset right away. All right, so when we create an asteroid, we're going to give it random values based off the size. It's going to have a rotation and a reset. All right, so what we have now that we got an asteroid, let's see, we got an update. We're checking if it's out of bounds, and then we're going to be adding that position. We do not have a display yet. I think we should probably have one. Display. Now we know that this is going to end up being something with pictures, so I'm just going to start it with push and pop. Okay. We know that we're going to do an image mode center. And I'm going to draw it with a circle. This dot position dot x, this dot position dot y, this dot size. Okay, I'm just drawing that on the bottom underneath it, but let's load that image. That image is the Asteroid 1 image. Asteroid 1 image. Okay, at this dot x, this dot y, this dot size, this dot size. Okay, so that should be reset. Now, I don't see anything yet. Let's go ahead and create one of those. Now, right now, what did we do? We did an asteroid. We temporarily created it in here. Okay. Now, the reason why I did it is because I wanted to create right away. We're going to create 2 asteroids. So here we're going to say I'll call it index. We're going to start that at 0, and we want index to go to 2. So I want to count from 0. 0 would be my first one, then 1. As long as that's still less than 2, then I can go up to my next one. So we've done this before using a loop and array. So we want index to only increase by 1. And then everything in here, this asteroid, is going to get added in. That is inside of the loop. What that allows us is that we have a list of asteroids. So we can say we created a spaceship. Now we have our asteroids that we say are an empty loop. We come in here, we create an asteroid 2 times, and then we can push that asteroid onto that asteroids array. Okay, so right here, I'm creating 2 of them. Okay, that means that when I come here to draw, we could use, again, we could count through these items, or I could just say I wanted to do a special type of for loop called a for of loop. So I could say for, and let's just call it asteroid. Let asteroid, since it's a temporary name, of the asteroids list, okay? And we're going to call each one of those asteroids, call an update. And call a display. Now this should error out because we got to do something else, okay? We have an update, but we do not have, we're missing some stuff. But this would go through and would answer each one of these. All right, so here's the thing. We created an asteroid. Okay, we didn't give it its init function. There's certain things that we have not used yet. So even though those are still technically like empty, we're just doing 0, 0. But we want to make a couple changes to this stuff. Okay, so that means that after we have called that asteroid, we need to do the asteroid dot init, give it an x and a y, and that should be the asteroid is getting pushed on the asteroids. Now that init is, actually let's just do the reset, because that's going to call the init and then do the rotation and the velocity. Okay, so we'll do just reset. Sorry guys. Called it reset. We got to pass in. We're going to pass in the asteroid dot size divided by 2 all the way up to the width minus the asteroid dot size divided by 2, and then we'll do some value that's above. So let's just say it's a negative asteroid dot size to 3 times -3 times asteroid dot size. Okay. That's our reset, and then we're pushing that. There you go. There's our asteroids. Now, we got some errors in here. My 91 image was expecting a number for the second parameter, received an empty variable. Let's look at what that is. This.x, this.y. Okay, so it's saying on some of them that it's not getting a this.x, this.y. Okay. No, we're not seeing the set size. We got it there. Hit reset. This dot position dot x. That's silly. This dot position dot y. This dot size. Okay, there's our asteroid. Now we want to make it look a little bit more realistic. We have a couple things in here. When we're updating, we were just taking a value and we're adding whatever that velocity is, okay? And then we're checking if we're out of bounds, then we're going to reset, okay? So that was something. The other thing that I think we should do is that we should rotate it. So for when we rotate something, there's a couple things that we do have to have in here. So we have a rotation. We have our speed. We need, we got the rotation direction, and this is going to be kind of our speed. We need an actual angle. And that's going to just help hold what our rotation is. So we're going to start it out at 0, but that's something that we're going to need to update. So in here, we're just going to say this dot angle plus equals this dot rotation direction. Okay. Now we can also play around with if we need to keep this within 360, but for the most part we're fine right now. Okay, when we're displaying, we have a push and pop, so we can make some changes. We're going to change our angle mode to degrees. Okay, we changed it to degrees. Then what we want to do, since we want it to rotate around itself, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to translate. We're going to translate the position of our asteroid to be our new origin, and then we can change these to zeros. Okay. It's not doing much other than this will allow us to rotate around a certain spot. So it looks the same. Okay, but now that we translated, now we can actually rotate around that angle. So this dot angle, which should be increasing if we did it right. So in our update, there's our rotation. And we have them rotating at a couple different speeds, and they're moving, and when they go off, they reset. Okay, so that's really as far as I wanted to get for this week. We don't have a collision set up for this yet, but we do have enough where we can actually create those asteroids, and we can have them move across the screen. Now, if we wanted to create that and make it more difficult, right now we're only creating 2. Let's say I wanted to create 5. Now I have 5 of these created, and they're resetting. So this is a little bit procedurally generated, random generation, but we have a lot more. If we wanted to have even more than that, let's say 10. There's now 10 asteroids, and they all have different sizes. They have all different rotations. This is starting to feel more like a game. Okay, the only other thing that you might want to do is we want to change, flip the images. So we could actually do that. We could give some type of variable and have it be true or false, and then we can actually use that with scale, which is something that's fairly easy. So we have an angle. Let's just call it flipped. And we'll start that as random. And we want it to be either true or false, so I can't have anything in between. So that's what I would want. And then here in my display, after we translated, we can flip. So we could say if this dot flipped, if that's true, then we can write scale, and we could choose which one we want to flip. Now, 1, 1 means that this is drawn normal. So if you just flip one of these as negative, like we're just doing the X, we should end up seeing some that are different looking. That was flipped. Let's take off the rotation so we can see that. I'm just going to comment it out. You see the 2 flips? There's a flip, there's a flip. So it's working. That's it. That's all we needed to do for this walkthrough to open us up to be able to start doing lasers and have collisions. All right? Good luck. Have fun.